English Story Times, Book 10, Story 10, The Can of Red Paint. Line 1. There's a can of red paint on the right. There's a can of red paint on the right. And a paintbrush in a glass, and a paintbrush in a glass with paint thinner on the left. With paint thinner on the left. There's a can of red paint on the right, and the paintbrush in a glass with paint thinner on the left. Question: what's the liquid? What's the liquid? The brush is in. The brush is in. What's the liquid the brush is in? Well, there's a can of red paint on the right, and a paintbrush in a glass with paint thinner on the left. Line 2. Since the paintbrush is in thinner, then the painter must have been painting with oil paint. Since the paintbrush is in thinner, then the painter must have been painting with oil paint. What can we assume if the paintbrush is in thinner? Since the paintbrush is in thinner, then the painter must have been painting with oil paint. Line 3. There are two kinds of paint. Oil and latex. How many types of paint are there? There are two types of paint, oil and latex. Line 4. Oil paint is more durable, but it dries slower, smells stronger, and a solvent is needed to clean up. Oil paint is more durable, but it dries slower, smells stronger, and a solvent is needed to clean up. What are some downsides of oil paint? What are some downsides of oil paint? Well, oil paint is more durable, but it dries slower, smells stronger, and a solvent is needed to clean up. Line 5. Most people prefer painting with latex paint, because it dries fast, doesn't smell too strong, and cleans up with soap and water. Most people prefer painting with latex paint because it dries fast, doesn't smell too strong, and cleans up with soap and water. Why is latex paint more popular? Why is latex paint more popular? Well, most people prefer painting with latex paint because it dries fast, doesn't smell too strong, and cleans up with soap and water. Your reading out loud goal. There's a can of red paint on the right and a paintbrush in a glass with paint thinner on the left. Since the paintbrush isn't thinner, then the painter must have been painting with oil paint. There are two kinds of paint, oil and latex. Oil paint is more durable, but it dries slower, smells stronger, and a solvent is needed to clean up. Most people prefer painting with latex paint because it dries fast, doesn't smell too strong, and cleans up with soap and water.